Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Folks, I'm going to be releasing a very important video called The Birth of the $1.9 trillion stimulus package. How the whole thing came to be because of some new inside details that have emerged about how it came to be and why the Biden team is so confident and so firm in their position of wanting to do $1.9 trillion stimulus, even if it has to be done without a single Republican vote. The two individuals who made this entire thing possible are the two individuals you're going to hear about in this video. The two individuals that made this entire thing possible are Jon Ossoff from Georgia, the new Democratic senator from Georgia, and Reverend Raphael Warnock, the new Democratic senator from Georgia, along with Ossoff. This has allowed the Democrats to regain control of the United States Senate. Right now, we have 50 Democratic seats and 50 Republican seats. But because the Vice President, there she is, Vice President Kamala Harris, is a Democrat, that gives the Democrats a razor thin majority of 51 to 50 because Vice President Kamala Harris will cast the tie breaking vote. Folks, because the Democrats did the improbable and they created a political earthquake with Jon Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock in Georgia, the Democrats now have the ability to do what they need to do to pass the $1.9 trillion stimulus package. Let's hear first from Jon Ossoff, who talked about the importance of $8,200 in stimulus relief, including the stimulus checks and the child tax credits for a family of four. Now, keep in mind, he's going to talk about Georgia because he's going to talk about his constituents, but what he says applies to families all over the country. Let's hear from Jon Ossoff. And I just want to be clear, the election of Jon Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock, which again was the political earthquake, check that out, a political earthquake, that has led to the birth of the $1.9 trillion stimulus plan. Let's hear from Jon Ossoff.
$8,200 of additional federal financial relief to help see you and your kids through this pandemic will be included in the Senate legislation that we are working to pass right now. $8,200 for a family of four in Georgia earning $75,000. Senator Reverend Warnock and I were sent here to fight for COVID relief for the people of our state who have had to face extraordinary child care costs as schools have been closed, who have had huge medical bills during this health crisis, who have seen loss of employment and severe financial distress, families who have been facing eviction and foreclosure. We came here to deliver help for the people of Georgia. And working with Leader Schumer and colleagues, Senator Reverend Warnock and I are here to inform the people of Georgia that we are working to advance this legislation, which will deliver $8,200 in additional federal relief in coming months for an average working family of four in the state of Georgia. We are working tirelessly to ensure that there are additional funds for Medicaid expansion for the people of Georgia. Our state thus far has refused to expand Medicaid, and we are working to secure additional funding for the expansion of Medicaid in Georgia, as well as Leader Schumer mentioned, significant additional resources for historically black colleges and universities. So once again, $8,200 for a working family of four in the state of Georgia to bridge this period of great distress and suffering while we ramp up vaccines and the public health response. Thank you.
So, folks, pretty interesting comments from Jon Ossoff. He talked extensively about the importance of expanding Medicaid. Medicaid provides healthcare coverage to those who are the poorest amongst us, which is what the Democrats want to do nationwide. There is funding for Medicaid expansion across the country and also specifically money set aside for Georgia. In fact, Reverend Raphael Warnock says that. Next, we're going to hear from Reverend Raphael Warnock, who says we will pass $1.9 trillion stimulus. And he talks about the importance of expanding Medicaid in Georgia, something he tried to do and actually got into trouble with. You'll hear from him directly. Let's hear from Reverend Raphael Warnock, the new Democratic senator from Georgia.
Thank you so very much. I'm glad to be here with Leader Schumer and with Senator Ossoff. I love the sound of that. To talk about the urgency of getting this relief bill passed for the people back home in Georgia and all across this country. I want to say that I'm so proud of the people of the state of Georgia in this defining moment in American history for sending John and me to the United States Senate. But they sent us with a mandate to address the devastation of this public health crisis for our state and our country, and we intend to live up to that promise. The people of Georgia are the ones who helped to make this robust relief possible. In a real sense, they stood up not only for that state, but for the country. And now it's up to the Congress to deliver. And that's why our top priorities are getting the vaccine distributed in our state and delivering the relief and assistance Georgians need to get on their feet through this tough time. This is one moment in which it's very clear that public policy is quite literally a matter of life and death. And so it's clear that Congress needs to take bold action to help Georgians and Americans respond to a once-in-a-century pandemic that's created an economic turndown, the likes of which we haven't seen in 75 years. And we do that by passing this $1.9 trillion relief proposal. And when we do that, here are the things that we bring home for the people of Georgia. $20 billion in vaccine procurement, distribution, and outreach so we can address the health of our citizens and our economy. $20 billion for the whole country. And then just for Georgia, nearly $2 billion to incentivize our state to finally expand Medicaid. And I want to emphasize that point because many of us have been fighting for the expansion of Medicaid for years. Folks here in the Congress have been trying to get states like Georgia to expand Medicaid. I literally got arrested in an act of civil disobedience, trying to get our state to do the right thing. I came here to this Capitol as an activist in 2017, standing up when they were cutting the children's health care program in order to give a $2 trillion tax cut to the richest of the rich. And so now we can finally get Georgia to expand Medicaid by providing nearly $2 billion. It covers the cost of expanding Medicaid in Georgia and then some. And that would not have happened were it not for the fact that the people of Georgia stood up and sent us to the Senate.
Now, folks, let's shift gears and hear from Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader. I have done another video talking about comments from the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi. It's very clear that the Democrats are very coordinated. Chuck Schumer talks about the broad support for the $1,400 stimulus checks. But make sure you watch the video all the way through to the end because you're going to hear some rather interesting comments from Chuck Schumer about the stimulus checks and a very, very, very strong comment from him about the impeachment trial and about former President Trump. First, let's hear from Chuck Schumer about the broad support for the $1,400 stimulus check. Let's watch.
Sounds like you are fully on board with the $1,400 checks for those making $75,000 up to $75,000 and $150,000 respectively, individuals, couples, with the phase out at $100,000 and $200,000 individuals and couples. How confident are you that you have everyone in your party?
Bottom line is it has broad support in our caucus, and we think the House bill is right in the ballpark. Ballpark.
So, folks, one of the main concerns for everybody watching is, can the Democrats actually get things done? Because the Democrats have three priorities. They want to get the impeachment trial done, they want to get President Biden's nominations confirmed, and they want to pass COVID relief. Chuck Schumer says we are on track for all three priorities. Nothing, including the impeachment trial, is slowing us down. Let's hear directly from him.
On question one, no, it is not. As we promised, when I first became majority leader, they said, you have three big tasks: President's cabinet, impeachment, COVID. We are on track with all three. This week, we affirmed two more of the president's nominees. The impeachment trial moves forward at a good pace. And our committees, as we speak, both in the House and Senate, are working on bold COVID relief that the American people need. So no, it is not slowing us down. Look, yesterday's testimony and presentations, actually not testimony, but presentations, were extremely powerful, gut-wrenching when you saw what happened. And a lot of people didn't see it up close, particularly a lot of the I had never seen myself in that tape that they showed. I didn't know they had it till I saw it. And so I'm hopeful it will change minds. It's hard to look at that and not see the gravity of what happened.
Now, in the final segment, he was asked to comment, Schumer was asked to comment on the impeachment trial, and Schumer said that what former President Trump did was the most dastardly thing that any president has ever done. And he said sweeping it under the rug would not allow the wounds to heal. They would keep that sweeping things under the rug would actually allow the wounds to stay wide open. Very strong comments, folks, from the Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer. Let's roll the tape and hear from him.
Peter Schumer, what is your reaction to Republicans basically saying that this trial is nothing more than just preventing Donald Trump from running again?
Just look at the trial. Look at what happened. To sweep this under the rug, to ignore it, in one of the most dastardly acts any president, probably the most dastardly act any president has committed, would not heal but keep the wounds open. Last one.
Peter Schumer, it seems there might not be the votes to convict President Trump, and so then you might not be able to hold the vote to bar him from office. Is there support for bringing forward a 14th Amendment measure?
We're first going to finish the impeachment trial, and then Democrats will get together and discuss where we go next. Thank you, everybody, and thank my colleagues.
So that's it, everybody. It's very clear what the Democratic priorities are. And I can tell you that the election of both Jon Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock allowed the Democrats to be able to essentially push forward with their agenda and make the entire $1.9 trillion top line offer non-negotiable. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. That would mean a lot to me. That would make me happy. That would make Jon Ossoff happy. That would make Reverend Raphael Warnock happy. That would make us all happy if you click the like button. And also, please enable notifications and subscribe to our channel. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. Check that out. All three of us are going to be super happy. Thanks so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time.